They said it once and they said it again, man, man, it must be tough, 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 tough being a man.
Good evening, horsemen. Today I have a very special guest with me. Our special guest tonight is Stephen Stonebraker, also known on themat.com and d1collegewrestling.net as Johnny Thompson #1. He's written for thewrestlingmall.com and has done some additional work for Wrestling International magazine. Now, I know Stephen because he was in the cast of 12 Angry Men with me, which closed 3 weeks ago today. Today is Sunday, not Tuesday. Anyway, so the reason that I have Stephen on with us this evening is to talk about his feelings and opinions on the International Olympic Committee, or whatever they're called, the IOC, because other countries in other languages put things in weird order. Their recent vote to drop wrestling from the Olympics. So, Stephen, why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience with wrestling?
When I first heard that the IOC was dropping wrestling from the Olympics, like many other wrestling fans, I was overwhelmed with a combination of devastation and shock. As a wrestling fan, I've had to deal with, as have other wrestling fans, we've had to deal with a lot of loss as it is because of Title IX and the avarice of certain individuals at universities, and also budget cuts. We've seen a lot of Division I wrestling teams dropped over the last 30 years. I've been out of high school for about 10 years, and there are 3 schools in which I competed against 10 years ago that no longer have wrestling teams. So we've already had to deal with a lot of loss as it is. And so when the Olympics, the International Olympic Wrestling Committee decided to drop wrestling, that came as even a bigger blow. In my personal opinion, I feel that this would be like the FDA telling the farmers of Iowa that they can no longer grow corn or soybeans. It would be like the State Athletic Commission of Texas saying that there would be no more football. It just doesn't make sense.
Being from Oklahoma, I wouldn't really care that much if Texas decided that. I personally would be okay with that, honestly. But you mentioned the avarice of certain individuals at the university level, I think you said.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's a little, I mean, I don't know the exact reason why the International Olympic Committee decided to drop wrestling. I've seen a lot of speculation, but really no clear-cut answer yet. But I think that could possibly be an answer to why it's happening.
And what specifically did you mean by avarice? Like what's give us an example.
Greed. It's absolute greed. Like here a couple years ago at the University of Nebraska, Omaha, who was the Division II National Wrestling Champions, and also had a great football program as well. Their athletic director, individual by the name of Trev Alberts, decided to drop both the men's football program and the men's wrestling program in an effort for the basketball team to go Division I and to hopefully put more money in his pocket.
I didn't know anything about that.
We're not the most informed about
the sports world. So. Nope. But yeah, I found it rather shocking that the IOC would decide to drop wrestling. My jaw hit the floor, and I don't even follow wrestling really. Sure. But it seems to me that wrestling was one of the original Olympic sports. What do you think it's going to do to the wrestling world?
Well, I'll tell you what. Let me start off with something else first. You brought up a good point when you said that wrestling was one of the original Olympic sports. At the original Olympics, there was just a running event.
Okay.
And at the second Olympics, wrestling started. So wrestling's been around since the second Olympics.
I mean, that's still kind of a long time.
It's a very long time. And when you look at the Olympics as a structure, when you look at the Olympics as a body, I believe that the backbone of the Olympics is track and field, is the running events.
Okay.
When you look at the heart, when you look at the spirit of the Olympics, I believe that that's wrestling. And let me tell you why.
Okay.
Certain events require a certain amount of skill and concentration. Certain events require a certain amount of technique. Certain events require a vast amount of cardiovascular conditioning. Certain events require a great deal of physical strength. Still, other sports require a great deal of quickness and speed. Some of these events require a combination. And very few events, like wrestling, require each and every single one of these things.
Okay.
When you look at the Olympics as for what it is 4 years of preparation to do your absolute best to prepare yourself for the opportunity to prove that you're one of the best in the world. And I believe that the spirit of the Olympics is a sport like wrestling.
Now you said 4 years to prepare, but I know that a lot of people, prepare themselves
Oh, for a lifetime,
for
absolutely.
a whole lifetime, which I think for most athletes is, most of them I think are younger than we are, but
Oh, absolutely.
So,
Well, I do want to go back. I don't know if I clearly answered the last question you asked me or not. Let me have the opportunity to do that right now. In turn, while I believe that the Olympics needs wrestling, I also believe that wrestling needs the Olympics.
okay,
And the reason why is because of this. The state title allows wrestling to show who are the best wrestlers in the state. A national title allows to see who are the best wrestlers in the nation. An Olympic medal allows to show who are the best wrestlers in the world. And not only that, it allows for wrestlers to prove that they are among the best athletes in the world. If you take the event that happened back in 2000 when American Rulon Gardner upset the Russian Alexander Karelin, that was a huge deal, not only in the wrestling community, but in the entire United States community. Gardner got to be on Jay Leno, he got to be on David Letterman, and he got to be on Conan O'Brien. Had that event happened anywhere else except for the Olympics, I don't know if he would have got the exposure that we deserved and had earned at that moment. So I do believe that wrestling does need the Olympics. I do want to say why I have a dog in this fight, why I'm so passionate about this, why I care so much about this. I was never a good wrestler. I was never a wrestler because I was successful at it. But I am, will continue to be, and will one day be very successful in life because I was a wrestler. Wrestling did so much for my life. It taught me so many things about life that are crucial to becoming a successful person. If I could single-handedly keep the Olympics from dropping wrestling, I would.
and I think you and a lot of people.
I'm doing this for the simple fact that if I can get my voice out there, if I can just be one more voice to show the International Olympic Committee just how much we care and love this sport, I'm going to do it. So if I can I'll put it to you like this. Let's show the International Olympic Committee that not only are we not going down without a fight, we just plain ain't going down. Wrestling will be a part of the 2020 Olympics.
Now, I had heard something about that wrestling had not been completely dropped, that it was put on sort of a probationary thing, and that they could apply I don't know how they'd go about doing this exactly,
Sure.
but that wrestling organizations, I guess countries, would petition the IOC to take it back as some sort of provisional event.
Well, what's going to happen, according to what I know, and I could be wrong about this, so I don't want to say this verbatim, but what I believe is going to happen based on the knowledge that I have been told, is that another vote will be made in May,
Okay.
and then a final decision will be made in September.
How do you think that vote in May is going to go?
I believe we're going to be back. I believe that we are too strong of a force and too loud of a voice to not be heard. And I think that the International Olympic Committee is finding out that wrestling has a following and that there are a lot of people out there that are passionate about this and refuse to not see it at the 2020 Olympics. The one reason why, I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but the sport right now that's being replaced, wrestling is out and the sport of golf is in. Now, I have nothing against golf. I play golf, I enjoy golf, and there are a lot of people out there like Phil Mickelson, for example, that I admire and respect a great deal. But on the exact same hand, let's look at what golf is. Golf is a game of the elite. People who are rich play it. The rich countries are going to be a part of it. So out of all the countries in the world, however many there are, like 273 countries, something like
Sounds
that.
about right. No, it
How
sounds
how many of these countries are going to be able to participate in golf? How many of them are going to be able to participate at a high level? Wrestling, you don't need that. There are many countries out there, poor countries, that can compete in wrestling. And the Olympics is and should remain an opportunity for even the lower countries, the developing countries, even the third world countries, to prove that they have the ability to be good at something. And wrestling allows that to happen. But one of the things that I do want to get at here is that I don't put anybody's goals and visions and dreams above anybody else's. If you want to be an Olympic gold medalist, it doesn't matter what event you're trying to be an Olympic gold medalist in. It's going to take a great deal of dedication, sacrifice, and hard work, without a doubt. Along with your natural talents and abilities as well. But I just feel that when it comes to the Olympics, and when you look at the Olympic Games and what they're about, I do feel that some events help to illustrate that more than others.
I would tend to agree. I don't have any other questions for you. Do you have anything else to add?
I'd just like to add, I sincerely appreciate this opportunity to come on here and voice my opinion and let the world know how Johnny Thompson, #1, aka Stephen Stonebraker, feels about the International Olympic Committee deciding to make this decision. And I'm going to be very happy come May when I find out that they've reversed the decision.
I think the world will be happy. I hope. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Stephen.
Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Yep. We'll cut this part out. We'll cut out the dead air. That's the great thing about filming.
Yeah, the opportunity. Now, if you want, I could show the audience a wrestling move. Stand up, I can hit you with a suplex.
I'd rather you didn't.
All right, just
Honestly,
in case. That's fine.
I appreciate it.
Not a problem.
I'll pass that.
That's all right.
Okay. Another time.
No, absolutely.